Today we're going to talk about where marketing fits in your business. So I'm going to give you a very simple framework to look at the marketing function and how that sits amongst all the other functions in the machine that is a business. So where does marketing sit and how does it relate to the other parts? And it gives you a very good simple framework to view marketing, the value it adds, and how it drives value within your business. So I'm Gareth Flood from Steps to Growth, and I help entrepreneurs and business owners achieve double-digit profit growth and scale their business through proven marketing plans, tools, and techniques. So let's look at this topic. So the first part of any business is the strategy. Now, if you've already done your strategy work and your strategy document, and I've done a separate video, I'll put the link in below about how to create a business plan. So if you haven't even started your business and you need to create a business plan, you can use that. But looking at the business plan, it does many different things. There's many different things you need to think about, obviously including looking at the market dynamics, the customers, the product and service to be offered, how that's going to be delivered, etc. But you need a high-level strategy of what is your business about. For example, if you look at a lot of businesses in your industry, have some of them chosen to be a lowest cost operator so that they won't be beaten on price or always compete on price. And maybe there's some in the opposite. They only compete in the premium or high-end sector and they will always be the most expensive in the market. Works very well for Louis Vuitton and sort of high-end things like that. Or you can have a strategy where you can compete in all three segments of the market. You're going to have a product and service offering that's in the lower or cheaper price-conscious tier, the middle of the road tier, and a high-end for those willing to pay it. And you need separate products and services for each of those. Most companies actually follow some form of that, but you can also specialize anywhere in that chain. So first thing to do is come up with your strategy for what is your business and what is your competitive advantage and how you're going to execute that in the market. After that comes your marketing plan. So I've said this many times before, your marketing plan flows out of your business plan. So you have your overall strategy, you have your business plan, and then you make your marketing plan. But obviously these two are linked. They're linked in many ways. There's a circular thing between them because much that goes into the strategy and the business plan is marketing-led function. So things like what's happening in the market, is it growing, declining, what are the market dynamics, what are the competitors doing, and mostly the customer insights. Who are the target customers? How do you segment all the customers in a population into different types? Who are you going to target? What's the unmet need of your business? The unmet need of your customers that your business is going to fill, and how are you going to fill that? So if you've already done the big work, and you would have had to do that work in the strategy part, but if you haven't done it, you can also reverse engineer this to say, I'll start with the marketing plan and I'll do the market work, market information, customer work, customer insights to develop a product and an offer, and then reverse engineer that into the business plan and the strategy. So the two are linked and they refresh each other occasionally. Once the strategy and the business plan is done the first time, you obviously update your marketing plan every year, part of annual business planning. So the things that need to get refreshed when you do your marketing plan work also come back and refresh the strategy and the business plan. But that's the basic flow. So there is interlink between them depending how far you've got along the chain. If you've completely done your business plan and your strategy, great. Move on to doing your marketing plan. If you haven't yet done your overall strategy and business plan, you can start with your marketing plan, and your customer and market insight work will then inform what you do in your strategy and business plan. So keep working those two in a circular type arrangement until you are very clear on what your strategy is and your business plan, and you're very clear on what your marketing plan is. So that's step one. Step two, strategy, then marketing. And these are chevron arrows going in a line for exactly that reason. The next thing that happens is your channel management. So you have your marketing plan, which includes your product or your service. Those need to be sold in places. So online channels, websites, online stores, Amazon, Shopify, whatever places customers can find your products online and offline. Obviously, high street shops, retail stores, physical locations, use of distributors, lots of offline things. So you need to figure out, which will also come out of your marketing plan, where the customers buy. So where are your customers looking to buy your product or service? It's normally in specific channels. The channel management is, how do I get my product or service into those channels so they're available to buy when customers want to buy them? And then how do you put processes around managing those channels? You can't just throw your product into a channel, fire and forget, and sales happen. Very rarely does that work. You need to actively manage the channel, promotion, pricing. Some offline stores, actually, they need you to pay to promote within the store, etc., etc. But you need a channel management plan to get the product in the right place where people buy. So that's channel management. And after you've got that clear, then you get into sales. So there's no point firing up your sales force if you don't have a strategy, you don't have a clear marketing plan, you don't know which channels you're targeting, and then you're just sending people out to go and sell. And a lot of companies, amazingly, actually still do this. Get clear on your strategy, get clear on your marketing, get clear on your channels, where the product is going, and then fire up the sales force. Because also you might need different types of salespeople for different types of channels and customers. So if you're doing high-end sales, one-to-one sales is very different from you're managing a distributor just to push volume into a warehousing type, low-end, price-conscious Costco type operation. They're very different skill sets. So you might even need to split out your sales force into different types of salespeople. And also, do you need, phone calling from the office outbound, or is it people out on the road knocking on doors? But that can only be defined once you know exactly what the product is, what the offer is, and where it needs to be sold. So then you fire up your sales team. You get, what training you need to give them. You can increase their competence. They know exactly, they're clear on what the offer is, what the price points are, what their negotiation limits are on these things, on the offer and the pricing, what else they can add, etc., etc. So then you get into sales, also remuneration. How do you compensate them for hitting targets, bonuses, sales bonuses, etc. That's when you then get into sales. So then after that, you need to be clear on your supply and operations, or your supply chain. Particularly if you have a physical product, you need to get it either imported or manufactured, stored, warehoused, logistics to get it out of the warehouse to the place it needs to be sold, or sold and then dispatched directly to end customers. And even if you have a service, is it just you fulfilling it? What support do you need to fulfill that? Is your service fulfilled in other people's shops or places, or your own shops, or customers coming to you? And you have a supply chain of, even if you're doing a service, still goods and materials. So if you're doing like hairdressing or something, you still have a supply chain of product, all the shampoos and gels and waxes and all of the things in a beauty parlor or a hairdresser or a barber. There's a supply chain of when you need to get that by, how do you optimize your stock holding of these products, etc. But you need to be clear on all the other things first. And supply chain, while it's at the end, once it's up and running, also goes through this. It's a supporting function to enable all these other things. If you have your strategy right, your marketing right, your channel's correct, your sales is correct, and they're all fired up, and they don't have product, that's a problem. That's where supply chain comes in. But you need to be clear on those first. What am I selling? Where am I selling it? How am I going to sell it? And then how do I fulfill it? That's effectively what supply chain does. How do I fulfill my product or service offer? So that's the format, and marketing is obviously, as you can see, the number 2 thing to be doing in this chain. And then those are the big drivers for value in a business. And you have a bunch of other supporting functions too. For example, finance. Finance goes all the way along this, all the way from the very beginning. Your strategy and your business plan will have financial modeling, including a pro forma or draft profit and loss statement for the business, balance sheet if you need that as well when you're starting up, and then obviously monthly reporting. How are they tracking sales? How are they tracking versus the sales targets? How are they going to pay bonuses? And also taking care of taxes. So you need some competence in the finance system that you're using, or you need a finance person to support the business. Next thing, obviously, HR, human resources, and people strategy. If you have people, and if you have more than one person, you have people. So you need to think of what is my sort of hiring policy and hiring process. How do I qualify people? How do I retain people? How do I set them annual performance plans to check that they're performing, and development plans? People need to be developed. So what's the processes to do that? And then also you have just general management. So this goes across everything, every month, every day, but you can put processes around general management. How do you set management team meetings? How do you set monthly review meetings, maybe weekly meetings? What process do you have in place to intervene when there's low performance or extra high reward? What kind of styles do you use? All that type of thing is general management. So those are supporting functions. So when you think of a business, those are basically the key functions. Is obviously marketing, sales, supply and operations, finance, and HR. If you look at the board or the management structure, they like to call it leadership teams these days, of any company, those are the big functions. And of course, the most profitable and the best companies in the world are marketing-led functions. And what I mean by that is they follow very closely the market. They are led by what is happening in the market and the customers. They stay close to the customers. They find out what the customers want and need, and they fulfill customers' needs. And that's how they stay profitable and ahead of the competition. So one function, ideally marketing, is leading the business because they're following the customers, figuring out the offers, figuring out the products and services, and building out back from that the products, the services, the channels, the sales, and all these other ones support it. I have seen businesses where somebody has tried to empower all functions equally. So you get into a management or leadership team meeting, and finance thinks they're running the business, HR thinks they're running the business, sales thinks they're running the business, and marketing thinks they're running the business. And it doesn't really work because you just have little fiefdoms and chieftains and everybody's infighting and everybody's saying the reason we're not performing is because I'm not getting what I need or what I want from the other functions, because they should just be doing whatever I say. And the whole business just slows down and it just turns into a balkanization, if you like, of infighting and territorial disputes. And the general manager, senior manager spends all their time just trying to sort out fights. So the best way, and if you look at historically, the best companies are marketing led, and they state that we are marketing led, we are customer led. Customer centricity is another concept that goes into this. We are marketing led and everybody else supports that. And that is over time what the most successful companies are, because they're following the customer. Now, can you have the other functions leading the charge? Sure. You have companies that are entirely sales led, just a vicious, really drilled sales culture. And that works unless, of course, you're not keeping an eye on the market and the product suddenly changes. So you could have a company like Polaroid, used to make those little instant pictures, or Kodak, who were great at selling 35mm negative film. And both of those companies weren't paying attention to what was happening in the market. When digital technologies came along, they passed on it, and now those companies don't exist anymore. So they were great at selling the existing products, but if you get too tied and in love and just clutching tightly to your existing product and meeting those sales targets every year, there's a big chance your company's going to die. And that's why it's better being led by marketing, who can tell when the changes are happening in the market, give the opportunities. Yes, the customer is moving to that new technology. We need to get into that quite quickly. So there's an example. So that is where marketing fits within your business. Go to be marketing led, maintain profitability, and stay close to the market, and you'll always be in business and always be profitable. Now let's just take it one level lower an overview of how marketing works within the business. So business is a big machine. Within this, you have your marketing machine, and marketing is really just three things. It's three machines on its own. If you want to build out your new marketing plan using a proven framework within 6 weeks, then join our Marketing Plan Accelerator course. We can get this done at your own pace. Just head over to stepstogrowth.com to find out more. All marketing needs to do, keeping it really simple, is you need to create the first machine, which is basically able to understand your customer. In machine 1, do you understand your customer? Move on to machine 2. Do you understand the issues and opportunities in the market you compete in? That's machine 2 for marketing. And number 3, can you develop effective marketing plans and then implement and track those plans? Those are the 3 marketing machines that you need to set up in your business to be able to do this weekly, monthly, annually, and it feeds all of those other functions that I said by the main delivery mechanism, which is the marketing plan. And if you get this right, I will then show you in my next video how you use this with the other functions and overall marketing within the business, of how exactly you create double-digit profit growth. Because while I say that a lot, this is how marketing can give you or create double-digit profit growth. I'm going to go in my next video, detailed example of exactly how that works. So watch that one now.